For me, I would say exposure to financials, exposure to a lot of things, how to dress, how to present yourself, how to understand the value of money, how to save. These are things you're not learning at the age of 16, especially in our communities. And you may not learn that in college either. They're not teaching you how to save and how to read these things. Kind of, here's your book, read, understand, come with me with questions. But with Youth About Business, it was more family, less judgment. You can run to whoever and just talk to them and learn what exactly is a financial. So I feel like it's a great program, especially at that age. And when I went to college, I felt more prepared. I can go into a networking event and I know how to dress, I know how to speak, I know how to present myself. And that was because of Youth About Business.
That's huge. That's huge. And the common thread that I heard amongst all you guys were practical versus theory, right? So you hear theory in the classroom, but then Youth About Business really immersed you in the practical learning, and you used the word experiential learning. So that was really impactful. And you had something that was actually a really good segue to this next question, because you said it prepared me where other things did not prepare me. So I guess my question to everyone now is, at what point did you really realize the impact of Youth About Business? At what point did you see that you may have been a little bit more prepared than your peers, or a little bit more just in tune to what you were going to do because of this program? Was it, in college? Was it after college? Kind of just talk to me about when you realized that true impact. We'll start with you.
I would say it happened in high school, even before attending college. I attended other programs and I did essay contests, and I was exposed to a lot more after this program. I knew how to present myself. I knew how to write better. I knew how to ask questions without being afraid. I mean, there's terms that at 16 years old you never heard of, but I was able to explain that at other programs or with my peers. And I feel like it caused me to be a leader amongst my peers and tell them, you should attend programs like this. Look out for things like that, because, we're not exposed to that in our communities. It's kind of graduate, find a quick job, summer youth, and call it a day. But there was more than that after I did this program. I knew I wanted more, and I knew I wanted to find the right internships to learn more, just like I did at Youth About Business.
That's great. That's great. How about you?
Yeah, I think when I realized I had a really big leg up, was back in school, back in college. So we had like a mergers and acquisitions case competition in the finance society. Fortunately for me, I had M&A case competitions throughout my high school career. So I told myself, hey, like, I'm gonna give it a try. Giving it a try, I met a lot of my peers that didn't really have that same sort of experience that I had. So it really told me, hey, like, I have some skills that I can really be leveraging through Youth About Business and through my experiences there. And in doing so, I came in like semifinals and finals through multiple rounds and stuff.
That's great.
And it told me, hey, like, I have a really good leg up in the finance industry, and it got to me to where I am today.
That's great.
I would echo that sentiment. So I did the program the summer before entering Barnard as a freshman. I felt like having that week to be exposed to investment banking gave me a legs up in terms of preparing for the recruiting process. And I was able to secure an internship in investment banking. And I think a lot of it was because I had exposure to business, like IB, through Youth About Business. So I would say that's one way. I think the other way that I didn't realize until much later in my career was that the model that we are here to serve our community, like Mr. Kirk embodies that. Like I remember the night of our case, it was 3 a.m. He came around, or it was right before the day of our presentations, and you see him running all day. He could have just went to sleep, but he comes in and to make sure that you're good and prepared. And so I most recently was a school leader, and what I found was, like, he has this term also, excellence is standard, like all those things like kind of just stayed with me, and I didn't realize it until much later. And so that idea that leadership is service really stuck with me.
Oh, that's huge. Awesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna echo that. I think being in the camp was one thing. I think immediate impact, like I think in high school, like I was a decent student, but I think that's after that summer, because I did it my sophomore year, coming back in that summer, going back to high school, I definitely took a different approach at how I approach school going forward. And I think talking about that experiential learning, it identified for me that's a good way for me to learn. And I tried to apply that as much as I could. But I think also, like, interning for the camp and working for the camp, like Mr. Kirk is one of the hardest working people I've ever met. And I really paid attention to that because his attention to detail that standard that you talk about around being excellent is something that I try to live and breathe by now. And it's something that instilled in me very deeply, like whatever you're doing, doesn't matter what you do. It's important to do it with excellence. And I try to teach my children that now. And it's something that I just stuck with me. So when you said it, I was like, just don't answer, but that was
Awesome. Yeah, no, it's so many mantras that we can kind of attribute to things that we've learned in the program, right? I have an unfair advantage, obviously, I'm the son, but you guys I've experienced a lot of this stuff too, right? So excellence is the standard. We eat challenges for breakfast. Mr. Wade just got finished saying, I don't know it, but to be enthusiastic with how you present yourself, right? And then just the standards. That's really cool. But I want you guys to not use those words, but come up with another word if you had to summarize what Youth About Business meant to you. And then we have one more question after that, but just give me one word or a phrase that what Youth About Business means to you. And we'll start with Felicia.
Okay. If I had to pick one word, I think I would say transformational.
Hard work pays off.
Hard work pays off. That's huge.
Yeah.
Work hard so you can play hard.
Yeah.
I'll go back to my original word, life-changing.
Life-changing.
I still stand by it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so,
That's great. Jordan?
I think mine is, I go back to like connection, just powerful connection in YAB and just in terms of everything, all facets of it. So I'll go connection.
That connection that you develop, like some of your best friends.